Okay, so I thought we're out in the country. We're under what we used to be the carport, and now we call it the carb port because all we seem to do is eat carbs under here. And I have some lovely assistants today. My neighbors, Oliver and Spencer, and their dad, Philip, is filming today, so thanks, Phil. Okay, so we are going to make some pita breads. The kids over here love these pita breads, and I often hear a little shout out the door of like, hey, got any pita breads? So I figured we'd do it together. It's really fun. I've been making these all summer. And as I always say, it's a zoofied recipe. It's so much simpler than you think. So we have some dough ready to go. I'm gonna show you how to assemble it. We're gonna fry it. I got a little camping burner here. I'm gonna get this screaming hot. And then we're gonna have some pitas for lunch. So first things first, what I put in this bowl about 20 minutes ago is 1 cup of water that's at 120 degrees with 2 teaspoons of yeast, dry yeast. And then I put in 1/4 cup of a whole wheat flour, red Fife flour that I like to use, which is a lighter whole wheat, and a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. So you have a 1/2 cup total of flour, and it should get nice and foamy and frothy. See how it's like, it's like foamy. So that's what you want. And then in here, in my bowl, I have 1 3/4 cups of flour. I have a little extra reserved flour, so when I'm kneading it, and if I need a little extra flour, but I try not to put in too much more. You might need about 1/4 cup more in there. I have been forgetting this all week. Don't forget your salt. You've got 1 good teaspoon of salt that goes in there. And then I'm gonna pour in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. That's gonna go right in here. I've also been forgetting that, and I'll tell you what happens when you forget it. Bread without salt tastes horrible, so don't do that. And when you're making these pita breads, if you don't put the oil in, they end up pretty dry. So I'm gonna mix this in here, and I will tell you one thing about baking the pita breads. I like to bake them in a pan and get sort of like a Greek style kind of flatbread, but you can do these in the oven. If you get the oven to about 450 degrees, you put a pan in there, gets super screaming hot, and then you're gonna lay these pitas right on the pan, and they're gonna actually puff up. When they have heat on both sides, they're gonna puff up. And then they have a pocket in them, and you will impress all your guests and be a hero. So I have this kind of shaggy dough here, as you can see. And what I want to do now is I just want to knead this for about like a minute, and then I'm going to leave it rest for 10 minutes and knead it for 2 more minutes. So I like to just do it right in the bowl. You can do it on your counter. I do not like to clean up a mess, so I avoid that at all costs. If you find that this is super duper wet, you can add in a little bit of flour, but I caution you not to add in too much. It ends up being a bit of a dry mess, and you want them pretty moist. You can see over here on my pan, see how it's smoking? So I'm gonna turn it off for a second, but you want it that hot. You really want these to kind of puff up. So see, I kind of have a shaggy dough. I'm gonna knead that for 1 minute. After I'm done kneading that, I'm gonna cover it with a towel that's pretty damp. I'm gonna leave that for 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna knead it again for 2 minutes. But through the magic of pre-baking everything, I wanna show you what our finished pitas are gonna look like. I mean, come on. These are like restaurant quality, super delicious, really soft, luxurious pita breads. So after I've kneaded that a second time for 2 minutes, and I'm gonna leave it alone for a whole hour. If you don't have time to make the pita breads then, you wanna make them at night, at that point, right away, put it in the fridge, cover it with plastic wrap, and you can leave that until you're ready to use it. When you take it out, maybe leave it warm up about an hour, hour and 15 minutes until it's nice and puffy, like this. This is our dough that has been proofing for about an hour, so you can see how like super spongy it is. Smells really, really yeasty and whole wheaty. And now what we're gonna do is the boys, as we social distance, the boys are going to take this dough. Look at that beautiful dough. Okay, take a little bit of flour here, just so it doesn't stick. I'm just going to get it into a little bit of a log shape, and I wanna cut this into 8. I'm gonna make 8 pitas. Those pitas will fit in my pan. If you have a bigger pan and you want a bigger pita, by all means you can do that. I'm cutting it into half, and then I'm gonna cut it into 4. So that will be 4 pitas for Ollie to roll, and then I'm gonna do another 4 over here for Spencer to roll out. And this is awesome. I mean, you guys are teenagers, but kids can do this, so that's fun. Now, normally I would cover these, but I've got 2 dough rollers here, so that's gonna go pretty fast. I'm gonna show you guys one. You don't want too much flour, a little bit of flour, okay? Then you're gonna take your ball, and what you wanna do is you're just gonna roll it like this. So grab one, just roll it like this. See, and you just wanna get it into like a little ball shape, okay? And that way, when we flatten it, you're gonna have a little nice ball shape. Like that, roll in your hand. Good job. All right, perfect. Do it with the rest of these guys. And then once I roll those into a little ball, I like to leave those rest for a little bit because I find it's easier to roll them out. Doesn't really matter. Don't worry too much about it. What we do then is, and you don't want too much flour on these. You don't want to dry them out. So I am just gently rolling my rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, we have a kombucha bottle here. Any kind of wine bottle will work. These actually work as great. These are some tiles that I got, but these are really great little boards here. Okay, so I'm rolling it into a nice circle by going kind of around like this, pushing it out. See how thin I'm getting it? Not too thin. It's going to rise up. There you go. Don't let it stick. So you just want to put like a little bit of flour. Put these over to the side. All right, guys. Away you roll, and I'm going to show everybody how to fry these up now. So sometimes I'll stretch them out a little bit. If I'm just doing this myself, I might leave a few, roll a couple, leave them on the side. And then as soon as this is like really screaming hot, we're going to put it in. You want to get a lot of coloration on the side, a little charring. If you're doing it in the oven, you're also going to get that. Here we go, smoking hot pan, and I'm just going to throw this in here. And right away, it's going to start to puff up. I get a nice pair of tongs going here, but you could use a fork if you want. I love when it starts to kind of bubble up a little bit. That's kind of ideal, and you get those nice kind of pockets in there. Yesterday, I actually put a tiny bit of olive oil in the pan. That was great too, because it gave it a little bit of, almost like a naan bread kind of texture on the outside. Okay, so our dough, let's say we've left it for about 10 minutes. That's when I'm gonna, technically I'll put it on the counter and then knead it for 2 minutes. I wanna really develop the gluten in here, and that is going to get your dough nice and chewy, really deliciously chewy, and that's what you want out of a pita bread. Phil, if you catch this over here, you can see little bubbles brewing in here. See? That's gonna be amazing on the other side. How you guys doing there?
Yeah.
Those look fantastic. I didn't even have to direct you that much. Wow. All right. So I'm gonna flip this just so you can see the other side, but sometimes I leave it a little bit longer so I get nice darkness. I just kind of like pop it down a little bit just to make sure all the little bits are touching. That'll get hotter as it goes. I've got it on full blast there. Guys, look how perfect these are. You did an amazing job.
Thank you.
If you're finding that it's sticking at all, you can always put put tiny bit more flour if you need to roll them out. These look amazing. You guys, see, Phil, you don't even need to make them lunch. This is it. You're just gonna eat carbs all day and play basketball. Okay, so see, look at my nice browning on the other side. It's starting to look like a pita. If you'd put this in the oven, you would have that perfectly puffed pita bread. It will puff on both sides. It's very impressive. Impress your family and friends. Okay, so as these are done, what I love to do is put them in a bowl right away, and I cover them, and that will allow them to kind of steam in there a little bit, and then they'll stay pretty hot for a long time. Okay, so that one's done. Now you see my pan is really smoking hot there. So what I'm going to do is grab another pita, stretch it out just a tiny bit to fit in the pan, get it right in there, and hopefully we'll have some really nice puffed bubbles in there. Guys, you excited to eat this?
Yeah.
Do you want to eat the first one?
Sure.
Yeah.
Really hot. Really hot. You might need to tear that carefully. Oh, guys, come on. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Steaming. So good. Very hot. Sorry, guys.
Oh, it's delicious.
we gotta teach your dad this. I know it's hot. Leave it till it's cooler. I love them when they're really smoking hot.
Yeah.
See, how easy is this? And it's fantastic because kids can roll it out. You can make it ahead. I keep them in a Ziploc bag or a covered container. They stay fresh for a long time. Look at the bubbles we're getting on here, guys. Can you see? These are gonna be so good. The pan is smoking, you know, maybe like cover your smoke alarm for the 10 minutes while you're doing this. I have giant bubbles coming in here, which is amazing. Let's flip it over right now. Oh yeah, perfect pita bread. So, you know, this has a little bit of whole wheat in it. I feel like almost all pitas have a little bit of whole wheat. If you don't have whole wheat, don't worry about it. Use the same ratio, which makes it's 1 3/4 cups of flours. I'm going to put a recipe. Sign up for the newsletter at zoeford.com. You can sign up for the newsletter. Also, follow us on Instagram so you can see all our videos. We've been doing them every week, except I'm a little lazy because it's the summer. So I've been a little bit sporadic. Maybe we'll have Oliver and Spencer back to do the next batch. See, look at this. So amazing. So I'm going to cover them in there. Still screaming hot pan. Let's get the next one in. And then I'm gonna go through, I've got 8 fresh pita breads. I know people think all the time, oh my God, it's bread, it's so hard. This couldn't be easier. Don't forget to get yourself a thermometer. I love to put the water at 120 degrees. I feel like it's foolproof. It will work every single time. Keep your dry yeast in a covered container in the cabinet. And if you don't feel like cooking your own food, we are on vacation, but we're gonna be back soon. So you can check out zoeford.com where we have the Zoe Ford Deli. Lots of delicious breads in there. Focaccia bread, which I think we did on the last video. And I'm gonna make sure these guys are carved up so they can go for a swim and play some basketball. And we'll see you again at the next video.
Bye.
Bye.
Enjoy your pitas.
Okay.
Save. Did you hit
It
save?
says end now or cancel.
And now.
Yeah.